IVM.
I really enjoy driving, but I hate the Mumbai traffic. In fact, yesterday, you won't believe what happened. I banged into a taxi. Through no fault of my own. I mean, it was completely his fault. Hear me out, I'll explain. Written behind the taxi was, Kotak home loans now only at 6.5%. It was so unbelievable. Out of shock, I crashed into the taxi. I'm surprised people don't crash into his car every single day because of that. So guys, kripya dhyan rakhe when reading such things. Actually, I don't even mind paying the taxi driver for his repairs because I will be saving so much on the interest rates. Just visit www.kotak.com for more info or visit your nearest Kotak Mahindra branch today. Terms and conditions apply. Interest rate starting at 6.5% per annum.
Hi, I'm Utsav, a behavior researcher by training and a slow traveler by passion. Postcards from Nowhere is a travel podcast where I condense a decade of travel experiences and explore not just the where, but also the why and how to travel. My stories emerged from slow traveling the less explored parts of the world: Bosnia and Herzegovina, Armenia, Uzbekistan, and even China. At the end of each story, I give practical tips and new ideas about how to travel better. This week, starting a new series, India's Linguistic Heritage, I take you to the origins of Indians, the hidden story of Sanskrit, and the absolute inanity of the North-South divide. The summer of 1420, along the foothills of the Western Ghats bordering Kerala, a strange sequence of events unfolded. A poor family, consisting of a woman, her husband, and their son, is visited by a sage who feels pity for them. He blesses them with Jyotishmati Tela, or medicinal oil, which would have the property to kill one, madden another, and make the third wise. Incidentally, this woman, who went by the name of Nacharu, is the one who turns wise, while her husband turns mad and her son dies. Jealous of her wisdom, the learned men of the village, many who had the knowledge of the Vedas, decided to hatch a plan and insult her. They asked her to arrange a meal for the entire village as a penance of what happened to her husband and son. She accepted it in all innocence and was even presented with a sari to be worn during the ceremony. Soon the wicked plot took shape, and while serving ghee and rice, the sari slipped down because of the material, much to the humiliation of Nacharu. The whole bunch of people started laughing and made fun of the poor lady. Nacharu, in her anger, cursed the entire bunch of people to become Chandals, or those who were untouchables. Looking at her fury, the people immediately realized their mistake and apologized to her. She calmed down, but since she had already cursed the place, she decided to move to a newer land. Around 100 families joined her in this expedition. The route they possibly took was over the mountains to Kerala, via Thrissur, Palghat, Wayanad, before entering Karnataka near Kodagu, and continued their journey till they reached Koshika in Hassan district of Karnataka. The migrations continued over a few decades, and many settled in a village we now know as Matur. Matur's claim to fame, however, is that it is one of the two villages in India where everyone speaks Sanskrit. It has earned the moniker of the Sanskrit village. But interestingly, they also speak a lesser-known language, Sankethi, a rare mix of Sanskrit, Tamil, Malayalam, and Kannada. But what if I told you that apart from Sanskrit being a language which gave rise to many other languages, it was profoundly influenced by the Dravidian languages, or the languages which are spoken across southern India? And not just at a superficial level, like adding a few words, but at a more fundamental level? But why should you care? I mean, how does that matter in this day and age? In a country which is seeing a return of Hindi imposition on the southern states, this episode covers a complex history of race and languages and how we became the people we are today. One of the long-standing questions in Indian history has been who exactly are the Vedic people? There is a famous Aryan migration or Aryan invasion theory which has been doing the rounds for a few decades. In 2008, a study of the mitochondrial DNA in South Asia had found no evidence of any change in the Indian gene pool. Mitochondrial DNA is transmitted only from mother to daughter. It does not take menfolk into consideration. So, basis this, had there been no migration of Vedic people into India at all? Later in 2017, when the investigation into Y DNA or the male line of descent began, things started to become clearer. This study told of a large influx into the region dating back to the Bronze Age, roughly when the Harappan civilization had just fallen apart. This is also around the time at which the verses of the Rig Veda first appeared, around 1500 BC. All of this influx traced back to the Pontic-Caspian region of Central Asia. So the Aryans did exist, except that they were all male and came from Central Asia. So our ancestors are a part of an age-old story. Men intruding into new lands, eliminating the menfolk, and taking the local women as wives, claiming the progeny as direct descendants of their paternal line. If you don't believe this, let me give you a very famous example. Ved Vyas, a scribe who wrote down the Vedas, had non-Brahmin, non-Aryan mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, but he himself was Brahmin. So now that the question about the origins of a race is answered, what about our languages? This brings us to two core tenets of linguistics. The first being retroflexion. If you speak Hindi or Sanskrit, you would understand this better. Consider the letters ta, tha, da, dha, na, and sh. When we speak these, the tongue touches the upper teeth. But when we speak ta, tha, da, dha, na, and sh, the tip of the tongue curls upwards. The second set of words are produced by retroflexion and something which is a part of all languages of the subcontinent, so much so, it's like a linguistic DNA tag to identify a language emerging from Southern Asia. So of course, this contrast is present in all the Dravidian languages such as Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam. And they are non-existent in any of the European languages to the north of India like Persian, Greek and Latin. And since Sanskrit is an Indo-European language, the retroflex sounds must have come from the Dravidian languages. The second tenet is aspiration. Consider the Hindi word bath, which means thing, and bhat, which means boiled rice. The pronunciation of bh comes from the hiss after b. This is called aspiration. And again, this does not exist outside the Indian subcontinent. And they are also not found in any of the Dravidian languages except in words loaned from Sanskrit, and even there the aspiration is ignored. This same thing applies to letters such as kh, gh, ch, jh, dh, th, dh, and f. But surprisingly, it's not present in Punjabi and Sindhi, which is why a Punjabi, instead of saying ghar for home, avoids the aspiration and says car. Neither is it present in Burushaski, a language isolated with no known relatives, and it comes from the remote Hunza Valley in present-day Pakistan. It leads us to conclude, rather surprisingly, that people living in the present-day regions of Punjab, Haryana, Kashmir and Delhi are descendants of the earlier Dravidian populations. Yes, all genetic and language evidence points to the fact that North Indians are partly South Indians. Sanskrit too came through the Vedic people who entered the country, married the women, held on tight to their own language, but nested them in the grammar of the women's language, which happened to be the Dravidian languages. So let me sum this up for you. For many of us living in the northwestern subcontinent, our paternal side came from Central Asia. Our maternal side is what are today called South Indians. If we speak Punjabi, Hindi, Sindhi, Gujarati, Marathi, Konkani and dialects of Rajasthan, you are still descendants of the Dravidian population, which had lived on these lands much before the invasion. Doesn't the entire north-south distinction sound absurd now? Doesn't the entire obsession of central governments with Hindi sound even more ridiculous now? Much like Sanketi, the rare mix of Sanskrit, Tamil, Malayalam and Kannada, spoken by a tiny population today, our identities are often closely tied to our languages. But when our genetics and languages themselves are so deeply intertwined, the entire idea of what's pure becomes pointless. In our bitterly divided world, we need to forego our obsession with the pure and embrace the delicious mix we are, that is India. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Utsav Memory on Twitter and YVTravel42 on Instagram.
Hey everybody, it's been a great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On The Habit Coach, Ashton is in conversation with Dre Baldwin, CEO of Work on Your Game Inc. They discuss the athletic mindset and what it takes to be a great athlete. On All Things Policy, Arjun Garge speaks to Atish Padi about fantasy sport platforms and Karnataka's online gambling ban. On the Life Manifesto, Zarina decodes the concept of emotional maturity. I wonder what emotionally mature people really do. On Nankari, Sadaf and Archit are joined by author Sudha Menon. They discuss comfort food and Sudha's upcoming book. On Say No to Drama, Chetna cuts through the drama around Instagram posts and comments. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quarter, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Slay Coffee, Intel, Kotak Mahindra Bank, and Oxfam India. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Are you looking for finance products and services that can enhance your personal finance experience? Are you looking for a space to talk about your financial product or service? And are you looking for a crisp talk show where the conversation is all about money? Well, your search ends here. Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta and I'm host of the Paisa Vaisa podcast, and I invite you for the conversation about your personal finance on each Monday on the IVM Podcast app or the website or on any podcast streaming platforms. See you folks.